Well, hello everyone. This is Chrystal Lynn, Cowgirl Astrologer. I want to thank you guys for joining my channel today. I've been a little silent lately. I haven't been on too much just because I'm taking in all of the stuff that's going on in our country, all of the stuff that's going on in our collective consciousness, all of the stuff that's happening in our life right now. And as an astrologer, you know, it's a lot to take in because we're looking at all these different facts. We're watching, we're observing, we have our own emotions, our own feelings. And so it's really hard to know exactly how to communicate the best during these times. And I didn't want to leave you guys thinking I was just escaping the world, although I would have probably liked to. The last, few months, I've been doing a lot of observing of what's going on astrologically in our world. And I decided not to come out with predictions about, the presidential stuff, because we really, at the end of the day, did not have all of the information we needed to do an accurate prediction. And I didn't feel that I am somebody that, I would have given maybe my 2 cents. But, I know a lot of astrologers were really attacked when they tried to come out and tried their best to be objective and share their concerns, or to look at it. It's really hard to be objective as an astrologer when you're looking at something that is affecting you personally. So I give a lot of credit to the astrologers that did try to come out, talk about political things. I was reading all of that, just learning. I mean, I'm always learning. So, I didn't feel that I had enough of what I would need to have to really come out and give my perspective on the matter. And again, I know some of the astrologers are coming out now and saying, I predicted Trump all along. But again, it's easy to say that now, but we never did have Hillary Clinton's rising sign, or correct one. We had speculations. I had my speculation too, but we just didn't have it. So, and the matter of fact is, yes, he did win, but she did win the popular vote. So there really is kind of, in the spiritual realm, in the energetic realm, it really just was split down the middle. Obviously we have laws that allowed him to get in because of the vote that we also calculate. But again, none of that really matters right now, does it? What I want to say, because I do want to talk about some kind of deep stuff today. So I want to start out by saying, first and foremost, that I'm really asking everybody to have an open mind in terms of what I'm going to talk about is a look at the energetic changes. This is called evolutionary astrology, where you're looking at the past, you're looking at the future, you're looking at what's happening. So I am not here in this video in any way to talk about either candidate in a way that I'm pushing my agenda. Okay, so please, please, please don't leave comments about any of that stuff. If you have something you'd like to share, please just do it in a really respectful way, and I'd be happy to read all your thoughts. But I have to have freedom as an astrologer to share with you guys what's happening in a bigger picture energetically. How you guys choose to take this information and how you do it, that's in your hands. So I'm not here to push any agenda. So I'm really trying my best to take an objective view here, which is why I didn't come out prior, because I didn't know if I could do that. I was still weighing and tossing and turning so many issues that I didn't feel I could give you guys that. But I do feel like I can give you guys that now. So please understand that this is about helping us to know what to do now, which is why the title of my video is The Morning After Pill, because we're all trying to swallow this pill one way or another. We're trying to figure out what the hell just happened. So I'm going to talk about what happened a little bit and talk about what's happening astrologically, because we're going to pull back from this focus that we're on, and we're going to look at a bigger picture. Okay. So first of all, what I want to say, when you're looking at what's happening, you do have to look at the chart of America. Okay, this is very important. You know, every event, every moment that something's created and there's a stamp of a seal and there's a time signed is has a birth chart, has an energetic beginning, has a personality, has, you know, the struggles that it's going to have. And so when we look at America, let me take a look here. You know, we're looking at a lot of things here. So hold on. I'm sorry. I had all this up. Okay, here we go. So we know when we look at America that America is a Cancer. Okay. And the sun was in Cancer at 13 degrees. All right. Which is why when you see America, you know, we become the mother of all the world. Everybody comes to America, right? Because it's the mother. It's the mother. Okay. Not only do we have the sun in Cancer, but also Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury. So a huge stellium in Cancer, how we communicate, how we see the world, how other people see us. Now, in the chart that I looked up, it says that that Sagittarius is our ascendant. I've heard some people say Capricorn. So, you know, I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that until I have a little closer facts, but I think I can talk about the energy as a whole here, that America is the mother. It's the mother energy that we nurture, we take care of, everybody wants to come to for safety. Okay. The other thing that's very interesting when we look at America's chart that I thought was very interesting is America has Lilith in Leo at 27 degrees retrograde. And we also have the North Node in Leo at 6 degrees. Okay, and this is in the 8th house. So our deepest, darkest feelings of who we are, okay, is about being proud, is about being proud of our country. Our country's like our trophy. USA, the flag, America. We have this energy of protecting, like the lion, our country. Okay. And we have this energy that is, like I said, proud. We're proud to say who we are. We're not afraid to say who we are. Okay. Now, with the North Node there and Lilith there, this can give a shadow of the dark side of Leo energy. The positive side is this amazing confidence and being proud and, you know, protecting our families. You know, that's an incredible thing. It's the lion. The dark side is this side of the lazy lion, the lion that, you know, is entitled, the lion that's narcissistic with an over ego. So we're seeing these energies come to the surface right now. Okay, we're seeing all of these situations happening that's bringing out this huge roar in America, okay? Now, another thing that we have to look at is that Pluto is in Capricorn at 15 degrees, okay? And so right now, Pluto is opposing the sun in America at 13 degrees. So they're a 2-degree orb, okay? And opposing Jupiter and opposing Mercury. You know, as Pluto goes through, it's going to hit each one of these because they are at different degrees. So Pluto in Capricorn is all about our foundation, our government, the old ways of doing things that we've always done them, the secrecy that they know, you know, we don't. You know, it's supposed to be we the people. They're supposed to work for us, but somehow we're working for them. Okay, so Pluto and Capricorn now in this long transit that will last until about 2025. Came in 2008. Okay, these are long transits that Pluto blowing things up, bringing attention to, is opposing the heart of America, what we've all been founded on. Okay, what we've all held to, what we've been built on. All right. When we have an opposition like this, people can become very split. We are seeing like never before the most intense divide amongst people. You know what I mean? That it's just, we are so divided right now. It's like this election brought out all of these deep, you know, historical feelings that are tied back to our ancestors. Okay, it stirred up everything we've ever believed in and brought things to the light that are uncomfortable for us and our belief system. How do we move forward? And it's opposing the heartland. It's opposing the motherland, the heart of what we've always done things for. Okay, so this is where you see this also, this very, very strong divide. Now, I want to talk, I have a lot of things I want to talk about, but I want to talk about understanding the energetic energy that's going on here. And I'm hoping that this could bring a little bit of understanding between us so that that divide can be softened just a little bit. When we go all the way back to Pluto in Leo, okay, let's go back that far. Even actually, let's go back to Pluto in Cancer, where my mom and dad were born in, okay? Pluto in Cancer was all about the protection of our motherland, okay? Pluto was in a conjunction with the motherland, okay? Bringing out all our belief systems, this protection for our family. But it also, by wanting to protect your family, creates a lot of fear, okay? There's a boogeyman we have to protect. It was a lot of energy of this protection. During this time, a lot of fear of each other, different races, you know, it was a very racist time. You know, homosexuality wasn't even discussed on any level, taboo, okay? So all of these things that are at the surface today, we're dealing with a generation of people who are still alive that have a DNA in them, an astrological DNA in them that holds to these fixed ideas, fighting against this new order, this new way, this new acceptance, okay? Throwing out there, we're headed towards the age of Aquarius, which opens the doors for all of this. So we have a generation of people that are in fear of other people, you know, of other races, of other tribes, because everything was about protection. Having your gun, protecting your family during those years. Then we move in to the Pluto and Leo generation, which is where Donald Trump and Hillary are both born during. Okay, this was the years of the baby boomers. This was the years of entitlement. We're not going to live like that. We're going to protect America. We're going to be incredible. America's like this trophy that we have. And so we have a much different type of political world, because when you're dealing with Pluto and Leo generation, again, don't forget, Leo's the lion. So you've got people like lions fight. Boy, they're swiping at each other. That has been the way that the world has, you know, that energy has inside of them, that DNA to make America great again. Those are statements that trigger the Pluto and Leo generation. Okay, you have to understand that words trigger things in you. Okay, words trigger things in you. So that's what they do. So if I use the term, now again, I'm just using this term as a observant. If I use the term make America great again, it triggers the Pluto in Cancer generation to say, yeah, everything that's happened is not like we had it and we're not protected. So when you say that, that gets me on board because I'm hearing something else. Those words are triggering my astrological DNA, my way of looking and viewing the world. Same thing with the Pluto and Leo generation. If you say, make America great again, you know, you're saying, hey, you know, we're the best, we're great, triggering those things. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But I just want us to understand what it triggers in you. Okay, triggers those things. So that's how candidates use those great words to trigger us emotionally. But often it might trigger something emotionally to the point that once it hits that deep emotional trigger, we can't hear anything else. And that's where we have to be a little bit careful. I'm going to give you another example. Now, this video is a little bit more for mature audiences, and I want to be able to talk about some real topics here, okay? I don't want to be afraid to talk about topics, but I'm going to use this again as an example, okay? Abortion, okay? I personally was raised in a very, very devout Christian world and upbringing, and so when you say the word abortion, okay, I am automatically conditioned because of my upbringing and my DNA, okay, to hear the words, you know, that it's my responsibility to stop this because it's, you know, obviously we know what, you know, the terminology would be, that it's bad, okay? And I now am responsible. If I promote pro-choice, I am responsible to God for allowing it. Okay, deep subject here, deep topic here. Is that true? If you feel that way, then your only responsibility is between you and your conviction. So what if you lived in a country that only allowed you to have one child, and every other child that you had, you were forced to have an abortion? Because of your religious belief, you might say, no, God wants me to be able to have as many children. That's his blessing. I don't want the government to decide how many children I can have. So in that case, your beliefs would be the opposite, not wanting the government to decide. But because we've been conditioned to believe that that one thing is our responsibility, we can't hear anything else other than a candidate that says pro-life. Now, no matter what else happens, we have to vote for that because there's a psychological connection to our conditioned thinking. If you are pro-life, can you be pro-life and still not want the government to make that decision for you? Okay, obviously these are the questions on the table. But if you're conditioned to believe one way, that it's all your responsibility, so by voting you are contributing to that. Okay, again, you were talking about subjects. This is not talking about what I believe about it. I'm trying to talk about how people see the world. These are important topics to talk about because what I'm trying to show you guys is that often we have such deep-rooted convictions, okay? If I say the Second Amendment and then there's more laws to put on guns, you hear Hitler taking away our rights, you know, that we're now going to have this because it's conditioned from years and generations of thinking. So what ends up happening when we get into a situation like this, where all of these issues, generations going way back, are coming to the surface, all of America is being triggered and every personal conviction. And a lot of these convictions, they've never been allowed to actually think through. is that really my conviction? Or is this a conviction I was told to believe and I can't move outside of that box? And Pluto in Capricorn is here to bring these issues up for you and question these things, okay? So now what we have is, and I told you guys this in some private or some past videos, that when Jupiter comes into a sign, he likes to blow things up right away, okay? Jupiter moved into Libra in late September and just now getting some energy. So it's at 13 degrees, all right? It's in a square with Pluto and Capricorn. So we have all these governmental issues coming to the surface. And what is Jupiter and Leo really about? The only sign on the zodiac that's not a human or an animal, it's a scale. It's a balancing scale. So Jupiter in Libra is behind this, you guys, having us look at both sides of the coin. We're being divided down the middle. This whole entire thing is blown up because we're not even thinking anymore really intellectually about the future. Most people in America are reacting to change. Okay, yes, we say we want change, but both candidates represent a ideology. Okay, there's my Einstein. He needs to not be right by the office. They're archetypes. Okay, let's look at them as archetypes for a minute. Let's back off of Hillary and Donald Trump. Okay, let's back off. Let's back off a minute. Okay. And let's look at another astrological factor. Okay, and I'm throwing a lot of just things at you guys and stirring up maybe even some emotion in you. Maybe it's even uncomfortable. These are uncomfortable conversations for me to have within my own head. I have my years of conditioning. I'm from the Pluto and Virgo generation. So we're from a whole nother generation where we were dealing with racism on a different level. Martin Luther King was assassinated the year I was born. So I carry this fight in my heart for equality, for unity, for compassion. You know, the Pluto and Virgo is all about healing the earth. You know, we're the ones saying, no, don't cut off the elephant trunk, you know, and the Pluto and Leo generation is like, look what I got, you know. So we're different for a reason. Okay, now going back to what I was going to say, hear me when I tell you this. We are at the end of the age of Pisces. This is a 2,000-year period that started with our New Testament. Jesus represented the new age of Pisces. Jesus represents the Pisces of compassion and was bringing healing. Now, when we look at an age, we have to go backwards, okay? Prior to the age of Pisces, we had the age of Aries, tooth for a tooth, an eye for an eye. Moses with the ram's horn. It was very bloody, very bloody in the Old Testament, if we want to look at that as symbolism to the energy that was happening. Now, astrologers can vary on this. I've read a couple that say 2050 is the cusp of the new age of Aquarius. So if we're in 2016 and we're approximately 35 years, even if we're 100 years away from this cusp, we're on the cusp of a 2,000-year period. That is why when Neptune was in Aquarius, we had a huge movement of the New Age movement. You are God. Neptune in Pisces is all about we need a savior. We need somebody else to redeem us. The new energy coming in of Neptune or the New Age of Aquarius is that everybody's their own God, these little mini universes, and we're all equal. And it doesn't matter what your views are. We've got to find a common ground in humanity. Okay? So if we're at the end of this age, and Pluto and Capricorn's here, because we're in Neptune and Pisces right now, okay? Neptune in Pisces is bringing out all these traditional views and all of these things and changing the vibration of how we worship, how we express our spirituality. And Pluto in Capricorn is blowing up the religious systems. Now, those of you who are watching this video, I'm hoping if you do pursue understanding the basics of astrology, which is the cycles of the universe, which gives us the energy that we can understand and move with for the greater good of the universe, then you're going to be able to kind of hear what I'm saying and actually weigh some of these things out. What do I believe? Is that really right? Or yes, I believe that and I'm sticking to it. But what you have to understand is those of us who are been raised in this, age of Pisces with these strong religious views, and almost this, Pisces has this ability to jump on board and become a follower and become hypnotized and magnetized and follow belief systems and mass following. Okay, that's the energy we've been in for 2,000 years, whether it's Jesus, whether it's Buddha, whatever it is. And even right now, with Neptune and Pisces, everybody's trying to cling on to a leader to save us because it's the last of this energy. And the new age of Aquarius that's starting to trickle through and wanting to teach us how to work in a different way, we're resisting. If you understand astrology, you might be open to understanding that this is the universal law. But if you don't have any clue and you're living out of fear and you're living out of hate and you're living, as a bottom dweller, and I don't say that to be mean to anyone. When I say bottom dweller, I mean somebody that's just, brewing in hate and can't see anything else, then energetically you're tapping off the bottom dark energy, okay? There's just no way else to say it. And those of us who are trying to raise our consciousness and look at life from a higher place, looking down and stepping back and holding back emotionally, because Jupiter in Libra says, let's hold back emotionally and weigh out the options. We're the ones who are the crazy ones right now because we're trying to actually debate and have conversations and discuss what's best and what are the policies and what are they actually saying, and not just be triggered emotionally by our fear. We've been living in dark fear energetically. And with Neptune and Pisces, it's rising the spiritual leaders like never before to be able to lead the way and saying, we're going to be okay, you guys. There's a bigger picture here. It's not about one man. It's not about one woman. They are archetypes of what we are going through. Over the last 100 years, it's been a very male-dominated energy that we've been in astrologically. When Neptune moved into Pisces and Pluto in Capricorn, those are feminine energies. And now we're moving into a time where women, this has been happening over the last 100 years, but at this point in time, Hillary Clinton was a image, an ideology, an archetype, however you want to look at that, of the energy of the woman rising and having equal rights and being able to rise to power. So, staying with me, if I'm a woman that is growing in that way, I'm going to look at that as an example. If I'm a man, that's always had this strict structure and I'm afraid to lose it, I might be looking for this as stability. Or if I'm a woman that's afraid of my own power, I might really hate that image of a woman rising to power. What I'm trying to tell you is that we are being triggered emotionally and we are being triggered by words and often not really thinking through this. Why are we being triggered? Why do I like that candidate and why don't I like that one? Why am I just obsessed? Why are we fighting? Why are we hating? Because all of the things that the candidates are representing in this day and time are all the things in our hearts that we're confused about, that we're going through these changes, you know, breaking away from religious structures, breaking away from abusive marriages. Women are breaking away and standing on their own. So they're going to repel against just the words of Donald Trump, not even hearing nobody can even hear what he's saying because it's repelling emotionally. Or the same thing with Hillary. She's a representation of, you know, what have the government been doing behind our backs? She's a Scorpio. So she's really, you know, going to get the whole energy of you betrayed us and you have lies and you're wicked and you're all these things. But she only represents the energy of our fears that the governments have been lying to us and that we don't know what's going on. And we're working for them and not for us. And she represents and she triggers the fear in us for that. You know, if you're an abused woman, you know, who's dealt with heavy narcissism in your life, Donald Trump's energy might send you into PSDT, which is what's happening to people. They're responding not to the candidates, but to what the candidates are stirring up in you. And I'm just going to tell you, you were born with these issues in your astrological DNA to work out in our lives. We were born with these things. So for me to hate you because you were born with this idealization wouldn't be fair. Even if I was born with this type of thinking and I wanted to be able to say, hey, this is how I view the world, but because you view the world completely differently, we hate each other? No, because you were born with that and I was born with this. But do we stay infants in our energy? I was born with certain structures that I live by, certain values. That's why I'm coming out. I'm not coming out here to discuss the candidates. I'm coming out here to hopefully, as a Pluto and Virgo generation, Neptune and Scorpio generation person, come out here and say, let's dissect this, the psychology of this, because that's how my brain works. And I have something to offer, just another view, another perspective. And if you get on my channel and you start commenting, blah, blah, F this, F that, blah, blah, you know, all the trolls going on, what is it saying? It's saying you can't have an intelligent conversation. You can't look within. And I'm not putting us down. I'm saying let's rise higher, including all of us. You know, I was really disturbed, like, and I know the media, the whole media thing, and oh my God, and just the, you know, but it's just, you know, how many people on Facebook, lifelong friends, fighting. I read it all. I was like reading as my studies, like my astrological research too. And I would even know, you know, what different signs were and how they were seeing the world. This has a lot to do with how you were born to see the world. It's not really our fault. What is our fault is if we stay in the infantile energy that we were born with and we don't have tools and learn ways to evolve to understanding the bigger picture. The bigger picture is we're moving into a new world that, you know, we've never seen before, and it's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. I was raised to believe everything about the new age of Aquarius, you know, was wrong. And so now that I'm as astrologer looking at this going, wow, this is fascinating. This is how it's supposed to be. This is incredible. This is beautiful. You know, my old triggering is like, no, this is wrong because I was conditioned. Do I want to stay in that conditioning or do I want to ask questions? Why in the hell can't we ask questions about why we think the way we think? Jupiter and Libra, about asking questions. You know, I put a post out yesterday. I was so just drained by this whole thing and frustrated and wiped out completely. You know, I just Didn't even want to go on my friends' Facebooks because they're just attacking and everybody's attacking and making fun of. And I thought, you know, it's really sad when nobody can have a thought, nobody can have an opinion, nobody can understand. Again, like I'm trying to explain to us, these are the things we were born with, these ideals, and it has to do with, you know, what's your astrology? What does your chart look like? Well, tell me a lot about you. If you were born with the 9th house in Capricorn, you're going to be extremely traditional. You know, if you were born with the 9th house in Aquarius, you're going to be like, you know, hanging off the chandeliers, liberal. So, you know, these are things that were born in us, but it's what we do with them. It's what we do with them. Are they going to be fueled by hate? Are they going to be fueled by toxicity? Are they going to be fueled by fear? Because I don't want to make a decision based on fear. And there was a lot of fear mongering in this. And that was why I was saying, and I'm just using the words, okay, again, I'm trying to be objective. I'm afraid to trigger people to say anything, really. But I have to speak too here. For you guys who really want to kind of look at this from an astrological perspective. If I say, let's make America great again, it's going to trigger a couple different thoughts in you. It's going to be, yeah, life's been really hard. Let's have it good again. Of course, right? I want that. You want that. Or it's going to trigger that life, you know, that we're scared and America's going down the drain, and it's going to trigger fear. And it's going to trigger the anger that maybe the position of life you're in. You're like, why in the hell am I in this position? Yeah. You know, it's their fault, right? So if you make it great again, I have hope. Now I have a chance. But here's the thing. You did have a chance before that. You have a chance within you. Okay. If I say it's all of us together makes us better, that might trigger the empath type energy. Because you got to remember, Hillary's coming from that Scorpio Pisces energy that's all about triggering family, and she's triggering the emotions in us about together, and you know, she's a hound dog. You know, she's got that fixed thinking, and so she's going to keep it going. What's been established, that's very fixed. And so some of us, you know, looking around, you see all over the place, you know, do we want what we already have, or do we want this change? Meanwhile, all of this stuff, all of these questions that we're projecting onto the United States of America to save us are all the questions we need to ask ourselves every day. Do you need to be a change? Maybe you're in a toxic relationship and you need to get out. Maybe you're a woman who's lost your power and you need to rise above. Maybe you're a man that's, you know, been afraid to look at anything else but a fixed idea because that's how you were raised, you know, to take the dominant role. And now your woman is rising. Can you support her? Can you say, let's do this together? You know, women rising in your households. I have a lot of women clients. They're rising. They're rising. They're rising on YouTube. They're rising all over the place. Women are coming out to help heal the earth. That's what women do. And men protect. But can we blend these energies together? Can we have a softer side of a man that supports a woman? Or can we have a woman that respects a man? See, these are the questions that the astrological energy is bringing to the surface. Pluto in Capricorn is bringing all of our belief systems to the surface. Saturn in Sagittarius, belief systems. If America has Sagittarius rising, Saturn's there. And Sagittarius rules the whole world. You know, it's interesting because I think I see, let me just say a few more things here. I know it's getting long, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm getting all crazy. Okay. You know, hold on. I'm looking at that chart. Yeah, United States has Mars and Gemini and Uranus in Gemini. So, and then we have, you know, potentially the ascendant in Sagittarius. So what you have here is you have this world-renowned, everybody inclusive. Wait a minute. No, what about my community? What about my little world? Because Gemini is the little small town, the community. Sagittarius is opening up to everybody. So there's this opposition going on. And no matter where the ascendant is, Saturn's in Sagittarius right now, opposing Mars in Gemini. So Saturn is, no, it's ours. Let's keep it for us, our communities, to what about the whole world? We're being torn both ways. These are all the issues that the astrological charts are leading us to look at. So when you have these issues coming up before us politically, and you want to attack either candidate for discussing them, they're required. This is what's coming up to bring these things to the table. Okay, now, what are all the answers and solutions? You know, we'll be watching now. Now we're watching. But one thing for me, I learned through this, because my biggest concern is having children watching this. And my children, I have an older son, you know, 27, from the Pluto and Scorpio generation. Okay, the Pluto and Scorpio generation is really the generation that's just like ruthlessly just, you know, opening the truth about all of this crazy psychological stuff that we've all been conditioned to believe. So the Pluto and Scorpio, that's why they're the young ones that are making the fun. My son, he brings me these funniest comedians that are his age, talking about their perspective, and they're kind of crude and they're kind of rude. And part of me, my little Virgo energy, Pluto and Virgo, is like, ew, that's so disrespectful. But, you know, because that's how I was raised. That's what's inside of me, is this huge respect issue. Respect, respect, respect. But what I'm looking at is, this is their creative way of expressing their truth, and we need to hear from them. We need to hear from them. My biggest issue as a mother and as a person that, you know, shares my views, is that I still believe in very good old-fashioned, old school debate, where each person can bring their ideas to the table, discuss, and walk away, you know, with a handshake and think about it. Well, thank you for that. I'll think about that. I'm not sure if I'm ready to see it that way, but, you know, good thoughts. I haven't thought about that. But when everybody's fighting like this, all it does is trigger our defense that no matter what you say now, I'm not listening to you. Even if you have a good point, just because you're acting like that, I'm not listening to you. Okay, I mean, these are all the issues I've had. Just seeing the mentality that's come up, unfortunately, tells us we're not very spiritually evolved as maybe we thought we were as a whole. Those of us who I hope are watching these type of videos are working on how can we see this and work for the better. I'm looking at understanding what's going on more, not putting my head in the sand, which I've done. I always hated political stuff, but because of that, that's no excuse. I need to know what's going on. I'm looking at teaching my children to look at the issues and not be triggered by words. Myself, is that something that's triggering the truth, or do I really believe that? Maybe I can frame that belief. Are we allowed to do that? Are we allowed to look at it from a bigger perspective? Maybe, you know, we can look at those things. We have to think of the future and where we're headed. A lot of people are holding on to the old system right now, you know, the good old boys. And, you know, it carries with it a fear of different races. It carries with it a fear of, you know, not being in control. The age of Aquarius is all about not being in control. It's about equality and, you know, bumping our egos down a little bit. You know, we still have a lot of this Pluto and Leo generation in our government, and they have a different perspective. So it's going to be a long time before we really see, you know, an energy that's healing the earth and really thinking about those things. It won't be till the Pluto and Virgo generation, you know, gets in there. So lots to think about, you guys. Thank you for listening. I mean, I just needed an outlet myself to think about these things. I'm, again, just wanting to bring about a different perspective to look at. You know, if I've triggered anything in anybody, again, that wasn't my purpose, other than to trigger in you to think for yourself, to spend some time out of this madness. You know, don't think that taking time out and meditating and understanding what your beliefs are and connecting to your higher calling is extremely important right now, because we can only make a difference in our lives if each one of us does our part within our homes, in our realm of influence. You know, what's happening out there is a reflection of here. So if we make changes, that's going to change either way. We don't want the same old thing, but we also want to make sure we're not falling for something else just based on fear. So, you know, we're really, Americans were put in a horrible position, I think, but we created it. So we have to take responsibility for it. Okay. So I know this is like probably the message that makes everybody have to think, but what else are we going to do? Come on. We need to think, and we need to learn to respect each other no matter what. We need to come together realizing that we do have things in common. We have this amazing, the fact that I can come out here and talk about this is one of the greatest blessings of America. And if you come out and talk about it, however you talk about it is a gift you have for that freedom. So, you know, we have to really realize that we do have great advantages being Americans, and this is one of them. Don't forget how far we've come. We need a lot of change. The world is changing. There are a lot of very scary things happening that are real, that we do need to be discerning about, and we do need to pay attention to. I'm in no means coming out here going, love and light. It ain't happening, guys, because there'll always be a dark presence. But shining the light on it and being in our own power and doing what we're called to do is what's going to make America great again. All right, you guys, have a great day, and thanks for listening.